30 years.
It's been 30 years now.
And we're not even, man, it came out before our time.
Yeah, we weren't even born, man.
Angel was.
Oh, yeah, he was, yeah. But
Angel
he
was.
wasn't old enough to play it.
Well, what? No, he just came out pretty much.
Yeah, can't play as a baby.
Wait.
Or can you?
Wait. He came out before the game, actually.
Yeah, he did.
You said his birthday was in April.
Yeah.
My goodness. Angel, you are old.
Yeah, man. He's old.
But
you know who else is stupid?
Old, stupid?
I don't know, but Steven Cruz.
Oh my! Why? It is too early for this.
We didn't mention him.
I didn't want to mention him again.
We didn't mention him last time, so we don't like you, Steven Cruz. You have to wait 21 minutes in order for you to hear that.
I hope he's not listening.
You know what's crazy is that he does, and he listens to the whole thing. His wife tells me how many times he listens to our episodes, and like she says that he listens to it constantly and to completion. Hate that guy.
Don't be Steve. Don't listen to our show.
You know what's crazy is that he wasn't even subscribed to our episodes.
Are you kidding?
He was just going on Podomatic. He would just log into Podomatic.com and go through it. And he's like, I don't even know. And I had to literally go on his phone and subscribe to my own podcast.
You pulled.
I pulled an Arnaldo.
Nice.
Yeah. He subscribed to us on YouTube. He didn't subscribe to us.
So that's just one more number. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube at underthecardboardbox@gmail.com. We're making a few changes here.
Yeah, if you notice, if you're watching right now, we only have the codec conversation up. We noticed that shorter videos are good.
Yeah,
why not?
It seems like a lot of us only have attention spans for 2 minutes, maybe. That's too much.
Or 56 seconds, how we see in the YouTube activity. Do you see those? Do you see the analytics?
I do. I looked at the analytics and I'm just like, I mean, are we that bad at first impressions?
Yeah.
Let us know at underthecardboardbox@gmail.com. But we're digressing all over the place.
Right. Like that Twitter follower or commenter of us said. Right? Was it on Twitter?
I don't know. I don't know which one. That we're completely sidetracked.
I think it was just last episode.
Yeah. It was he said it was just that episode was painful to get through. That we're way too sidetracked. And of course, Mel was in the studio when we were doing this.
So how Mel episodes go.
That's 2 for 2 now.
Yeah.
Every time Mel is in the studio, things go bad. We love you, Mel, but I don't know. There's something radiating from you that makes people just hate our show.
That's right.
But we would have you in the studio anytime, just not here anymore. Thank you. Have a nice day. But there were some good comments, man. There were some that really touched my heart, man.
All right, let's hear them.
Well, I'm trying to get to it, and we've completely have gone away from the actual
codec conversation.
But
that's all right, because that's what we do. We are just a podcast, and we love going off the rails. Why? Because we love doing our thing, and some of you may not like it. Some of you may, and that's all right. We can't please everyone, Arnaldo. Just know that we can't please anyone, man.
We can't. And so we appreciate the people that are actually here and are listening and you enjoy our show. Please let us know at underthecardboardbox@gmail.com what you think of our episode. I'm attempting right now to find that comment because it was just like, wow. And I think I did. I think I got it. And here we go. I got it.
There it is.
Hey guys. This is
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? All right. I believe his name is John and Perry on YouTube. So it says, hey guys, news to the podcast here. A few episodes back in parentheses. I found you guys on Google Play and subscribed to you guys.
Good thing we put it up, right?
Mm-hmm. We're also available on Google Play. Not sure if you guys are aware about that, but I am an avid MGS fan. It is my favorite game of all time. Just wanted to say thank you for keeping me company on my commute to work for 2 hours and back home. This is a fun podcast to listen to. That was awesome.
Yeah. And what's funny is that when I first started listening to podcasts, it was because I took this long road trip. I think it was to Boston, and I never really listened to podcasts back in the day. It was always music, you know. But I was always watching IGN videos, and I was just like, man, I don't really have time to like sit and watch videos, like just on my phone, because I rather just listen to it on my ears. So I started seeing like, oh, well, podcast would be a good adventure because I could actually lock my phone and put it in my pocket, kind of thing, right? If you're watching a YouTube video, you can't lock your phone; it'll stop the video. So anyway,
unless you pay.
Yeah, unless you pay for the YouTube Red, right? But no one does that. So anyway, I started this long drive, and it really did keep me company, and I was fully interested and invested in it because I had a long drive. Podcasts are meant for people who have long drives, maybe to work, or they do some type of driving job. And you were working at Uber at one time, and you were telling me you would listen to our podcast and stuff, and you would listen to it till completion. Thank you, Jonathan, because that only makes us sure why we're up at 7:39 in the morning doing this podcast, because we know that you listen. For those of you who are listening and watching, thank you for actually supporting us. We're not the best. That's his alarm clock.
That's supposed to be my work alarm.
Wow. When you wake up before your alarm, you're going to have a crazy day.
But let's not get sidetracked.
So the thing about our alarms, well, listen, thank you seriously for being an avid fan of Metal Gear.
Yeah.
And that's why we're celebrating 30 years is because of you guys, us as fans, 30 years of Metal Gear, man. 30 years.
30 years.
When did you first start playing Metal Gear?
So I have to give this credit to my brother Rumi. He has been on the show. Can't remember for the life of me which episode. It had to be after we did our video cast. But I recall it, man. I do. I was in his home. And for those of you who don't know, Rumi is my stepbrother. So I was in his home one time, and I would just watch him play this game on his PlayStation. It was Metal Gear Solid. And I remember just watching it, and I was so enamored by it. I was hooked. And I was just like, I remember this was the moment that kind of like made it crazy too. He had to change the disc. He was at that point.
Yeah.
So Metal Gear Solid for me was the first game in which it was a 2-disc. I'm sure there were other 2-disc games prior to that.
Yeah, a bunch.
But it was just like, it changed me forever when I played this game. Sure, I was young. I think I was like 9 or something like that, maybe even younger. But I played this game, this entire thing. This whole thing was new to me. Sneaking around, being in a cardboard box, having to find. This was like my first game outside of the Nintendo 64, where I was used to like Super Mario 64 and stuff like that. And it was just, man, I think about it now and I play it now, and it just brings back such fond memories. So thanks, Rumi, for introducing that to me. He was an avid fan at the time as well. Not so much anymore. Not because he doesn't like the game, but really because, fatherhood changes you and other adventures change you and stuff like that. But he really did pass the torch, and it kind of just blew up till now. How about your first?
I have to take it back to a very, very young age. I've told the story before, but there's 2 instances, right, where I played Metal Gear. It was the Metal Gear, the one that we're celebrating now, which is 30 years. I played that at a really, really young age. So I had to be maybe 5, 6, but it was really young, right? I could barely remember this. But my dad, he owned one of his brothers, my uncle. He owned a video store back where I used to live, and we used to rent a bunch of movies and stuff. And they started getting into games, and so we had like one of the systems there, and it was, lo and behold, the Nintendo, the original Nintendo. And so I didn't own it. It was just my dad's, he had it, my stepdad. He just had it there and he put it on. And I remember just like playing it for a while and I was completely bored. I was like, wow, this game is so bad. I do not want to play this. And that's just being truthful. I just didn't want to play. I wanted to see more flashy things. I wanted to see Sonic and this and whatever, all those things, or Mario. And I didn't like it at all. The reason I remember it was Metal Gear is because cleaning out some of the stuff when we moved, when I was like 8 from that apartment, I remember vividly giving that game back to him. The same game, I have today, but giving that game back to him and saying, oh, no, I'm never going to play this. I don't even have the system here, whatever. Because at the time, Metal Gear wasn't a big thing, at the time. For me, it wasn't a big thing. And it still hasn't come out on PlayStation. So it was like, whatever, it was just those 2 games, Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, and then I think Metal Gear Snake's Revenge, right? So, and that was it. So I was just like, man, like you could take this back. The second instance is thanks to my buddy here next to me. I had Metal Gear Solid 2 for PlayStation 2. Do you remember the cover to that that Isaac made? So I had
Isaac still invite. Invite is open.
That's right. I did actually tell him. Did he hear it? Here we go. Sidetrack. I did tell him.
Okay.
So I was actually supposed to see him this Friday at a men's barbecue that he invited me to, but it got canceled because of the rain. So couldn't happen. It's okay.
Did he hear the show?
He did not hear the show, but I told him, go, if you don't want to hear the whole thing, just go to this time code. Go to this time code. He hasn't heard it yet, or at least I don't think so.
Because he's
but
so busy.
I told him that we mentioned him and please come to the show. So you can come in and mention some good memories that we have with Metal Gear. Because I do have memories with him. And he has a lot of cool stories with Metal Gear, especially Twin Snakes and all these things. Anyway, I had Metal Gear Solid 2. And at the time, I got it from my friend Jeremy. You remember Jeremy?
I do.
So one of my friends, Jeremy, who I knew for such a long time, who's actually my first friend when I moved from the place that I talked about where I had Metal Gear 1. I moved and he was my first friend, Jeremy. The PlayStation 2 just came out. I didn't have a PlayStation 2, but he gave me this game. He was just like, here, I'm probably not going to play it, right? I had a GameCube. Everyone knows the story about how I got the GameCube, my stepdad, Nintendo, everything, right? So eventually I bought the game discs for GameCube and I loved it, right? Okay, we were in middle school, right? And so I was completely and utterly upset that I had a Nintendo GameCube. I wanted a PlayStation 2. At the time, for some of you young listeners, PlayStation 2 was the thing to have. It was the best system. I think is still the best system of all time, in my opinion. A lot of people probably don't agree. But in my opinion, I think it's the best system that ever came out, right? It was purely games. So I was just like, man, I'm saving up money, right? I was in middle school. I didn't have anything, but I was saving up money because, I was like just doing side jobs or whatever, like helping my super who was downstairs, like take out trash and he would give me like $20, whatever. So I remember back then, looking at the calendar, like, okay, I know I'm going to make 20 here. And I don't know if you remember doing this, but like calculating, all right, in 124 days, I can get a PlayStation 2. Anyway, we were in art class, 7th grade, and Isaac just finished doing the cover for my Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. He drew it out. He's a very good artist. He drew it out. He drew a snake's face with a bandana. It was not that it was horrible. It wasn't that great.
Do you still have that around?
I do. Yes, I do.
We're gonna put that up at U.C.B.P. podcast.
We will put it up. We will. I still have that.
Come on. You take a picture, email it.
I will. I gotta find it. It's at my mom's house, but
I'll goodness.
Find it. So, we have it. Ironically enough, we have Metal Gear Solid 2 right here, the original though, not the one that he made.
The one you're talking about is the original. This is Substance.
Yes, that's right. Substance. Yeah, the one I had was Sons of Liberty. So I was like, okay, well, guys, I was talking to my crew, which is Arnaldo, Elvis, who's been at the show, Mel, sorry, who's been at the show.
Goodness.
I keep doing it.
He's just gonna kill you.
Yeah, he doesn't listen.
He doesn't
so
listen.
Sure. Isaac and Sean. So we were all in class, and we were talking about, hey, I'm going to save up for the PlayStation 2. I'm going to get it. I'm going to, finally have a PlayStation 2. I felt so left out. I didn't have one. And so Arnaldo goes, nah, you shouldn't get the PlayStation 2. And I'm like, I completely ignored him like everyone does, even to this day. So,
Thanks.
everyone's like, yeah, no, you could get this game for PlayStation 2. You could get this. I don't know how you convinced me throughout this art class, which is one period. It's only 45 minutes. How in God's green earth did you convince me to not save up for PlayStation 2 and get Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes? I was like, you must be out of your mind if I'm doing that. Because I hated having the GameCube. And so he said, listen, man, you have a GameCube already. A new game is about to come out right now called Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. You have to play the first one. I said, I played a little bit of the second one. It was okay. I was playing as Snake and stuff, and it was cool. But then I stopped playing it. And he's like, don't even touch that game. Play part 1. This is a remake of part 1. You're going to love it. And I'm like, man. And I did it. I had $50 to my name at the time. And I convinced the guy in Game Depot in the Bronx on Kingsbridge Road to not
give you tax?
Give you tax, exactly.
Charge
me tax. I was trying to find the word charge.
Which was probably like 5401 at the time.
Yeah, it was like 54, 53, something. The guy was cool. He was kind of a jerk though. I don't know if you remember, but I used to bring him like games, like a plethora of games. He'd be like, $10. I'm like, all right, come on, man. Anyway, so this was trading games, So I brought Twin Snakes and I absolutely loved it. It was the first time I've ever seen movies in a video game. It was, I just completely fell in love with it. And I knew from that moment on that this was going to be my, not only hobby, but pretty much a lifestyle, a lifestyle of like, hey, I'm a gamer, this is who I am. And I can say that very proudly because I am still the only one out of all of you guys who continue playing games. I think that I take pride in that because I always said, no, I'm going to continue playing games. And we're all like, yeah, we're all going to play games till we're like 40 or whatever. Man, and I talk to you guys, man, it makes me sad that you guys all have lives now. We all do too, but and what's cool is that my wife encourages me to play. So that's pretty cool. I like that. But Metal Gear was the game that Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes was the game that got me into video gaming. It was the first game I've ever beaten, to be honest. It was the first game I've ever beaten. I've never beaten a game at the time. And I was like, wow, I actually beat a game? This is crazy. I was like, 11 or something, and I'm like, I actually beat this game. Wow. And I was just in love with it. Celebrating 30 years of it. Obviously, I'm not 30 years old, but celebrating 30 years of it and the way that Metal Gear was, I obviously, I played the first two and I saw what he was trying to do, what Hideo Kojima was trying to do all those years ago, 30 years ago, what he was trying to do with those games. He was trying to revolutionize something that was, the format was there with like, what's this, Legend of Zelda. It looked the same, with like top-down view or whatever, but he revolutionized what it is to have a tactical espionage action game, a stealth game. Like at that time, there was no such thing, maybe there were copies or whatever, but there were really no such things. And he really revolutionized something and made it better. A lot of people that I listen to in the industry think Metal Gear Solid, the first game, introducing them into gaming. Greg Miller, who, I listen to a lot from Kind of Funny Games, formerly at IGN, he talks about how he was falling out of games. He's a little bit older, and I think he was going into high school or college or something. And he said that, at the time, playing Metal Gear Solid, he was really falling out of games. And he was really like, games like Final Fantasy is cool and all, but I'm going to stick to journalism or whatever. And he played Metal Gear Solid. And I mean, look at him now, video game is pretty much his lifestyle and what he makes a living on. So yeah, I mean, we have a Metal Gear Solid podcast. Obviously, you can tell how much of an influence it's been in our lives, obviously, and yeah, it's been such such great memories just playing that game. I remember just sitting down in front of my TV, like super close to the TV, and just being enamored with the physics and the graphics, of course. Yeah, it was a luxury that we didn't deserve at the time, just because it was way ahead of its time. And even to this day, it does these things where it still surprises me. I don't really have much of the ventures. Like, I don't have a PlayStation 2 anymore. I still have my GameCube, but I can't play them again. And it's so hard to even find a remake right now of Twin Snakes, like to play right now, like somewhere, because Silicon Valley went under. So, so the rights to that is gone. But yeah, what a fantastic moment. Thank you, man, for convincing me to get
Don't know how.
Twin Snakes. I have no idea how, but thank you for convincing me into getting Twin Snakes, because man, what a great decision that was. Let me tell you. Great decision. Eventually I got a PS2.
Huh?
Eventually,
yeah. And then you played part 2 and you enjoyed it even more.
I did.
That moment created for us such a bond and a rivalry, because we would constantly challenge each other to do better, to get more time, to know more knowledge. There was a lot of squabble between you and I because of the game also, where we were constantly just asking each other questions and trying to trip each other up. Isaac tried to trip me up various times, and
the feud. I loved it.
Yeah, it was crazy. He was like, I know something that you don't know about Metal Gear.
Yeah. I remember that happening a lot.
Yeah. And he would be so upset when I would prove him otherwise.
Yeah. It's true. Would you say that I've ever surprised you in something back in the day? Because it was hard to do that, because I think you had a sense of pride that, one, yes, you introduced me to Metal Gear officially, right? Because I don't count when I was a kid, but a sense of pride of like, I have to know everything of Metal Gear. I think you played the game so much, especially part 3, where it was just like, I know everything about this game. So I have to know what it is to do this, do that. So he can't surprise me with anything. Would you say that I ever did?
I'm trying to recall, and I'm sure you did. I can't recall any instances, but I know that you did. I know that, because you were really adamant about playing it. You were like, I've got to know more.
Yeah.
So the hunger that you had for it, the vigor and everything was just like, man. And because look where it brought you today. Look where it brought us here. We're doing a podcast about a video game that joined us together in middle school.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid, and that's crazy. Here we are, 40 episodes in, 30th anniversary of Metal Gear.
Yeah.
And we're here just talking about our memories. I remember the first time I got a PS2, I got Metal Gear Solid 2 was my first game for a PS2.
That's right. And Metal Gear Solid 4 was your first game for PS3.
I got the game prior.
We both did.
You got Metal Gear Solid 4 before I did. But we'll get to that. We'll get it. We'll like, let's go in order. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Who knows?
It just started and it felt right.
So I guess we'll go on to Metal Gear Solid 3, right?
Well, we didn't even talk Metal Gear 2 yet.
Metal Gear 2.
It was funny because Rumi was actually, when he played Metal Gear Solid 2 with me, I started the game and stuff like that. And he would also play. But it was funny when it first got to Raiden, like when it first introduced him and Rumi started to play as him, he saw the white hair in the back of the helmet.
Yeah.
And he thought, now prepare yourself for this. He thought that was Ocelot. He was like, yo, it's Ocelot. Like this before he took off the helmet.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, you get to play as Ocelot. I was like, wait.
What?
It's like, Ocelot can't do those flips. He's an old man. He's just, and part 2, man, I remember it. It was crazy because I was so into the comic that came in the booklet.
Yeah.
And it just really changed things for me, man. I remember getting that PS2 that night and turning it on and trying it out. I was so excited.
What year did you get PlayStation 2?
Don't remember what year. As you know, my memory's a little hazy because of my incident. But I digress. But I know I got it during Christmas time of its release.
Yeah.
Of PS2's release. So I'm really grateful for my parents for getting that for me. They're not listeners of the show because they're Hispanics and they're not very tech savvy. But thanks, Mom and Dad. I really love the fact that you guys spoiled me such. And so you spoke about your part 2 experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, part 3. Now we have a funny story about part 3, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
When it first came out. So I will allow you. Actually, can I?
Well, yeah. Well, let's start with that.
So I was saying that Heido and I have, some rivalry, and Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater was coming out, and we both knew. At the time, I was working at this game store.
Game Power. Good times.
Yeah. And so Heido and I were gonna race to get the game. And we made this whole big thing about it.
November 17th.
So 11th. As soon as we get out of the school, we are running.
Literally running.
We're running to the game store. And Heido, in an attempt to beat me there.
Yeah.
Jumps on the bus.
I do. That 3 bus in the Bronx. Good times.
And
good times.
Somehow, some way, I managed to get there.
Wait, a little bit before me, yeah. Right before me. Well, like maybe 2 minutes before me.
Yeah.
Because you had enough time to do what you were about to say.
So when I got in, I take all the Metal Gear games.
He works for this place, let me tell you. So he went behind a counter.
I took all the Metal Gear games, Metal Gear Solid 3. I put them under the desk. And I just took one. And when Heido came in, breathing heavily, I look at him and I have I'll do it with this just to show it.
Watch our YouTube videos.
Well, they have to if you're right. So I go like this. I go, I got the last one.
Literally in no hesitation. I literally walk out that door.
You ran.
You oh, yeah.
You ran out of that. You're like, come on. And you just run out. And I'll let you tell that part.
And I literally run. Now, Fordham Road is probably like, I don't know, a couple of blocks away. Long blocks, let me tell you. I went to this place called Fordham Game World, which is on Fordham. And it's probably like 15 minutes walking. Probably made it there in like 11 minutes or something. I can't remember. But I ran so fast to this place because I legit thought that, wow, I spent my whole day in school. All these adults got the game. And I was so frustrated. I was like, man, all I wanted to do is play this game. That's all I wanted to do. It's like I've been watching the magazine. I've been seeing the magazines, the videos that have been coming on IGN. And I've been so like, the anticipation was just really, really high. And so I went to Fordham Game World and I was exhausted. I was like breathing heavy. And the guy that was there, he was like, hey man, you okay? I was like, yeah, I went to the store and they just ran out. I need, so he's like, well, we got a lot here. Just here,
just relax.
Paid my $54, whatever. Cause back then games were $50. And then with tax, And so I got it and I ran back to the store, right? Ran back, not as fast this time. Let me tell you, not as fast. I took my time. I stopped at red lights.
Stopped at red light?
Sorry, at the red hand.
The intersection.
No, at the time, was it the red hand? Or was it walk or don't walk?
Can't
remember. Anyway, so I went back and yeah, I was like, I got it. And then you literally wait. You purposely wait till I come back because you knew I was coming back. You knew I was coming back. And you took the games and you went poof, and put it right on the desk. There were about maybe 20 or something games in there. There were a lot of games. And I said to myself, like, this is the last time I will listen to you. The last time. And you just started that laugh that you have. And soon after that, a guy, your friend, walks into the store. Do you remember this?
Go on.
A guy walks into the store. All I wanted to do was play this game.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how Arnaldo convinced me.
And again, you said, this is the last time.
This is the last time. I have no idea how you convinced me. But this guy illegally wanted to copy the game into
his Xbox.
Yes.
We do not condone this.
We don't condone this at all.
We were kids and we were stupid.
Yeah,
we're still pretty stupid.
Anyway, so you tell me, hey, like, let him do it. He does it all the time, whatever. And if he messes up your game, like, that's what I was worried about. I was worried about my game being messed up or scratched. I have this reputation where, like, I take care of games and, like, I clean them and I have them stacked and neatly, like, ordered, whatever. I'm very meticulous with that stuff. And I told him, I was like, if this game messes up, it's on you. And then the guy said, no, it's on me. I will pay for another game. I don't know how you convinced me, but we went to this stranger's house. We walked down the block. He's like, I'll go with you. We went to the stranger's house. He copied the game, and I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and he played the game on Xbox. It worked fine, whatever. Now, the embarrassing part, and I told this story before. I was walking with Elvis because Elvis was with us. And so Elvis would go with me home because he lives not too far from where I live. Lived. My mom's house, right? And so we're walking, and I really have to use the bathroom since the morning of middle school. But I forgot that I had to use the bathroom because all I could think about was Metal Gear Solid 3 coming out, right? But something else was coming out. And so I was running.
It was on back order, huh?
It was really on back order. And so I was like kind of not running, but like kind of like
wobbling,
a little bit like a penguin. And I was telling Evans, man, I'm sorry, bro, but like I can't focus because I really need to use the bathroom. And so I get about 2 feet away from my the front door of our apartment complex, and I just go, man. I had no choice but to go. And dude, it was the messiest. It was the messiest thing on earth. It was really bad, man. It was really bad. It took me a whole 2 hours and a half to play Metal Gear Solid 3 finally. Why? Because my mom said I couldn't play until I finished my homework.
Oh no.
So I had to.
It was just a bad day.
It was a bad day, man. It was raining too. And so I just remember taking a shower because, what happened and stuff. And I was in the toilet for a long time. And so I just had all this crap all over me. Literally. And so I had to take a shower, everything. It was just bad. And then I was ready to play. And she's like, did you finish your homework? And then I don't know why she sounded like that. She didn't. And I said, no, I just got to play something real quick. And she's like, play something. We'll see about that. Better finish your homework now. So I had to finish my homework. And then I did it. And I finally played. And then the worst part is that I go back the next day to school. And I'm like, yeah, man, I got up to this part. It was so good, but I had to go to sleep. And he's like, oh, yeah, I beat it. Arnaldo beat the game because he was playing at the game store right when I left. Took his memory card and played it at home and finished it. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. I think, you know what it was? You didn't go to school the next day. And I saw you the next day after that. Because I remember beating it in 4 days. And you didn't go to school that day. And I was really upset because I knew what you were doing. I knew what you were doing. And I saw you the next day after that, the third day. And you were like, I beat the game. And
that's great.
Yeah. Good times, man.
Yeah, man.
Good times.
I forgot to say that Metal Gear Twin Snakes was actually the reason I got my job at Game Power.
Really? How?
Well, when Twin Snakes was coming out, I really wanted it. And Junior, who was working there at the time, saw how much I wanted it and said, you work for me and I'll pay you money. I'm sorry. You work for me and I will get you the game. And so I started working there, doing little odd jobs, cleaning windows, sweeping, whatever the case may be. And when he bought me the game, and that's how I got Twin Snakes.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man, it was just it was awesome. Then we got part 4.
Yeah,
you got part 4.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yep. I got part 4. It took me a while to get it, but I waited in line at like some local mom and pop store. I got it fairly easy, but it took me a while just to save up for it. But I didn't have a PlayStation 3.
Neither of us did, but we missed Subsistence.
Yeah, I mean that
when that game came out.
Yeah, that was
another squabble between you and me.
Yeah,
maybe we'll tell it on another day since we've got some time constraints.
Yeah, Arnaldo has to get to work.
Yep, I gotta get to work in a couple of minutes. Don't want to be late. But of course, part 4, Heido. I bought a PS3 specifically for part 4.
Yeah.
That's like what changed. There was Xbox 360, PlayStation. Metal Gear Solid 4 was coming out for PlayStation. I'm like, I'm getting a PlayStation.
That's it.
There was no question. But before we got it, we couldn't afford it. So Heido had this friend, because he's not my friend, Brian Perez.
He's your friend too.
Shut up. And he had a PS3, and we were like, you played the game, and you're like, yo, Brian has a PS3. We're gonna play at his house.
So unfortunately enough, his mom passed away like a few months before that. I'm sorry, a month before that, probably to the date. And so I've been meaning to hang out with him just to spend time with him, you know? And so we hung out that whole week, and I got the game, right? And he didn't have it, you know, but he had a PlayStation 3. And I said, hey man, I got the game. You know how much I love Metal Gear. Can I play it at your house? And he said, yeah, man, sleep over. It was the first time I slept over there at the house. And we were just talking at first or whatever. I couldn't wait to play the game, by the way. And so I honestly didn't think we were going to play it like all night. I honestly didn't think we were. And I mostly played because he wasn't like really into the game. He was just like, oh, maybe you should go here or whatever and stuff, you know? But, you know, the reason I remember this so much is because one, you know, we were talking about his mom and everything and all the good memories about her. And like, we just bonded so much with the game, you know, like seeing the connection between old Snake going through these things and everything. But it was just such a great time between him and I, where we got to play the game and we finished it that morning. You know, his dad was super upset, which is an old joke that I still say to this day to him.
Yeah. When I was there also, right?
Yeah. So, and so, you know, we'll get to that, but it was such a great time. But literally the next day,
that's when
you came. And so I told you, yo, dude, I beat it. It's amazing. I don't want to tell you anything about it, you know? And for me, it wasn't a sense of pride, like, I beat it first than you, because we've been through all of that already through Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, and Subsistence. For me, it was more like, I really want you to experience this amazing, phenomenal game. And I wanted to be there. So I told you, you know, I asked obviously Brian first and his dad, and they said yes, whatever and stuff. And so you came literally the next day and you beat it too.
Yeah.
That was
and you held something. You wanted to see my reaction was when Big Boss came at the end.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah. I wish I had a phone to record it, but you barely have reactions to things. You just had your smirk. You went, and I was like, really? I was crying. And Brian fell asleep. He didn't even
care.
It was just us too.
It was us too. It was our house.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, man. Metal Gear has had a great and impacting part of our lives.
Yeah.
And we want to continue just playing it, man. We want to talk about our other experiences during the portables, the acid. We can make a part 2 about this
absolutely
for next week.
Let's do a part 2.
But for now, I will say this. Time is running.
Yeah. Gotta get to work, man.
Yeah, I do. We don't have time for the trivia.
No, we don't.
Any last thoughts, Matt, before we go?
Thank you, Metal Gear and Hideo Kojima, for these past 30 years or whatever years, you know, the years that I've been playing Metal Gear and us. And thank you to the fans too. I think this game would not have grown the way it has without the fans.
We won't grow without the fans.
That's right.
Well, I guess with that being said, please excuse us. It is that time.
It is.
Jairo Martinez, Arnaldo Castillo, and I'm going to work.
Dude, you gotta get out of here.
Yes, dude.
Man, it's crazy, man. We haven't slept yet.
We have not.